This bill will help combat fraud in Minnesota. It'll combat fraud across all of our state agencies. The law enforcement amendment that was placed onto the bill today was a fantastic amendment and a key amendment to make sure that this new Office of Inspector General has the tools that it will need to clamp down on fraud. We did a lot of work together on this process on how every detail, even how the Office of Inspector General is appointed. We went out of our way to make sure that this office would be as independent as possible while still making it constitutional. I would like to thank Senators Barr, Draheim, Curran, and Drazkowski from my caucus. They've been a real pleasure to work with, each bringing a unique set of experiences and perspectives to this matter and engaging in our weekly meetings and everybody bringing input into this process. I'd like to thank all the senators in the committees, the 10 or 11 committee stops that we went through for engaging in a substantive way and providing input, and us as bill authors then acting on that input. For the Democrat members, Mr. President, I'd like to thank Senator Marty. I enjoyed working with him for the first time on a bill. I thought it was a very respectful and productive process to do that. Even if we didn't come to the exact same place, I certainly took a lot of his input into consideration and put it into the bill to make this bill a better bill, and I truly believe that. And so I'd like to especially thank Senator Gustafson. She committed to our shared values throughout this process when it comes to combating fraud. She works hard, she works with collaboration and with integrity, even asking me to co-present the bill at all but one of our committee stops. You know, a member from the other party, you don't see that very often, so that was a really cool experience to be a part of. And it really shows that it's amazing what we can accomplish when we're committed to doing the work rather than just getting credit. And so it's been a real joy. All the members who worked on this bill shared the desire to stop fraud. We were reasonable, patient. We listened to all the perspectives, working hard to make the bill work. And speaking for myself, I went as far as I could go to take all of that input and put it into the bill. Collaboration, yes. Working together, yes. To have the interagency agreements, yes, absolutely. But at all points, the hard line for me was not to limit the jurisdiction of the Office of Inspector General to do its job, to be effective in combating fraud, which is what Minnesotans expect from us. There may be situations where the OIG has to step in when the agency doesn't, or maybe even the OIG has to investigate something going on within the agency at times, and we need to allow the flexibility and the jurisdiction for the Office of Inspector General to do that when needed. I think we walked that line very well. The amendment that we put on that requires federal approval from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for certain provisions of the bill was a good amendment. And if the federal government doesn't approve, then all that will happen is those provisions that are subject to that won't go into effect, but the rest of the bill still will, and the Office of Inspector General will still be able to do the good work that we here as a body today are going to be giving the authority to do. So even if that happens, this is a good bill, and it will help combat fraud. And when it comes to fraud in Minnesota, the status quo isn't an option. We need action, and this bill does that. We're doing the work here today that Minnesotans expect us to do. And I'd like to thank all of the people that worked on this bill, and let's show Minnesota with a strong bipartisan vote that we can do the people's work when we put our mind to it, and I encourage all members to vote yes. Thank you.